Hi guys, my name is Dr. Fola David. I'm a medical doctor, visual artist, speed painter, humanitarian, record title holder for the largest run in the world by an individual, and I'm live here on Simple TV. My name is Gbadamosi Adefemi, and this thing has really caused a lot of issues because they're too different. It's very difficult to marry those names, sometimes with bookings at the airport, certificates, awards. A lot of awards have Fola David, some have the other name, but I've gotten to a point where I can't go back. So I just have to keep going forward, and I'm going to be a lot more conscious about making sure that I start to integrate both names together so people start to understand. Yeah. I grew up in Yanopaja area, somewhere called, there's a bus stop called Pleasure Bus Stop. I had my primary school education there. Secondary school education was somewhere in the Kotun area. Then I went to the University of Lagos. That's Yaba area. See, mainland all my life. I didn't know there was an island until I got to Unilag. We never used to go out that much when I was growing up. When I got to Unilag, I started really understanding what life is. Throughout the time when I was growing up, I was a very creative child. I also was a very smart child. I used to do a lot of puzzles, word games, sudokus. I read newspapers, I read all the novels. My mom had to bring a novel every day. We had a neighbor that worked in a newspaper company. They bring the newspapers to me every day. It was never enough. I was the best student in my school, and I think this is majorly why I became a medical doctor, because for me, books were easy, and I always felt like I had conquered anything that had to do with education. Because when I was about to pick a career choice, my mom told me, that time we had this big jam brochure, very big. My mom would say medicine was the hardest thing you could do in university. And I said, okay, let's do it. Because she knew that was how she would get me to do it. If she tells me something is hard, I'm gonna do it. And that's essentially how I chose medicine and got into medical school. And then I found out hard is relative, because it's not just about books anymore at that age. But yes, early life, sorry. Grew up, loved books, was very creative. I loved painting, I loved drawing. I usually have my classmates bring all the drawing assignments to me, and I would just, do everything. My drawings were really good. Yes, I think that's all I can remember for now. So, now that I think about it, growing up, being able to do all those drawings, and also being very good with my books, it was a no-brainer as to what I would become in future, because I was very inquisitive. When I got to Unilag, and I started discovering a lot of things, and my mind was like reborn. I felt like a child all over again, but a child that already had the skills with the books, the skills with the art. So when I was in school, I didn't really need to study as much. I didn't really need to struggle in school as much. So I spent a lot of my time outside of school. And it was how I, started to understand a lot of things and knowing, okay, what are the skills that I have that can make me achieve certain goals that I started having when I got to the university. And I was already in school. I was going to be a medical doctor, so it was now the art. I started drawing in school professionally. Started working on my skills while I was in university, and then I also started speed painting. Grew the brand Fola David while I was still in school. The moment I left school, it was already I was already the artist Fola David. Then I became the doctor, worked also in the hospitals, now all to the point where I own my own clinic now. So it's like I was already on the pathway to that. I didn't really have to struggle too much. It was just about understanding that there are things I want to achieve and using what I already have, the skills I have, to make sure that I get there. I would say I didn't have any influences because I didn't know anything about being a doctor. I already said why I became a doctor. I had no clue what it meant. I didn't know. I'd never even taken a plane trip. The first time I took a flight, I said I should have been a pilot. I didn't have much to influence my decision when I was growing up. In art, in medicine, I just knew how to do these things, and I felt, okay, as a smart kid, you should do medicine, and with the skills I have as an artist, I should definitely, pursue that. So there wasn't any particular person or anything that made that influenced me into being what I became. You know how in science we call them stem cells. They're cells that have not differentiated into anything but can differentiate into anything. So sometimes we take those cells and put it in a particular part of the body, and those cells become bone or become the eyes or become... I would have been able to do absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. I'm very sure of it. I mean, if you want to go educational wise, I was very good with maths, further maths, with sciences, geography, agriculture, economics, business. Every single thing was good. So if I had an influence, maybe someone who was a businessman, and I was like, yo, I really like this, maybe I would have done that. Or like I said, if I knew a pilot, if I was flying, I would have studied. I would have studied that to become a pilot, definitely. For the art, I would have done it no matter what I studied in school, because it was something I just knew how to do. That's the thing about living two lives, as a medical doctor and as an artist. During the pandemic, there was a lot of issues, especially with the lockdown and with people not knowing what was really going on. There was a lot of fear and a lot of panic, and people really fear what they don't know. People fear what they don't understand. I needed to make sure that I explained to people what was going on, and that's when I started my foundation. I started going into the communities to teach people about social distancing, washing their hands, using face masks, what the virus is and why they are on lockdown. That was also from the doctor part of me. From the art part of me, I called together a lot of artists. I think we had about 100 artists. I created a digital site where artists were to put their works up for sale, and 50% of the proceeds go to medical workers on the front line. And we did that. We were able to raise funds to buy protective equipment for doctors that were working, my colleagues that were working in the hospital and all that. So for me, it was more about identifying the fact that people didn't know what was going on, especially in some rural areas. And also the doctors were being overworked and they didn't have enough equipment. So we were giving them equipment, we were giving them food. Those that were on breaks, we take them to a resort to relax. And that was just my own way of really digging into the whole thing to help. I also created 1 or 2 artworks for sale so we could, raise funds to alleviate or make it easy for these doctors who were working. And that's what I did during the COVID period. No, I've never had that issue, because a question I usually get asked is how can I run 2 different careers? And I tell people that if you become a master at something, No, so let's say you really want to do something and it's difficult, right? And you really don't have any talent in it. But if you become a master at it, you're going to find out that what it takes someone 10 hours to do, you probably do it in 1 hour. And what do you do with the remaining 9 hours? You understand? So you use the 9 hours to become a master at something else. And then it takes 10 hours. By the time you're done, you're going to be so good at so many things, right? Being a doctor is not just about the treatment. It's about how you carry yourself, the things you say to your patients. You need to talk to your patients and gain their trust. And trust really comes in Nigerian setting. Trust comes from the confidence in your voice. If I talk to a patient about their condition and what is really going on, it's over. You're not faltering, you're not stuttering, you're coming from a place of knowledge, a place of experience. So you would never really have that issue of, oh, I don't want that's going to, you're looking so good, your tie, your coat is white, and you look like a savior. There's something I used to do when I was working in a general hospital in Lagos Island. How you look in the morning, because we have a ward. The ward is this long hallway, beds here. And now my client, I say client now because my clinic, we call them clients. But then my patient, maybe I had only 2 patients down at the end, but every other patient is going to see you. So I come in looking like an angel, that's what I say. The white coat is shining like, and then your tie and your shirt and your shoe is glistening, and you're doing it, you're making it, come. Everybody's like, my God. You're dangerous. And you're also willing to help people and all that. So, this is really, if you want to be a doctor, be a doctor. When you're in that setting, be that certain. Be that person that is going to help and save lives. If you want to be an artist, be that person, So you have to be ready to switch anytime. After the whole thing, by 5 or 6, we're closed at work. I switch. And it's time to run the town. When I was in medical school, I started speed painting. I was in 400 level medical school. That's my 4th year. There was a pageant in my school, Mr. and Miss Maryland. I did a speed painting there. I've wanted to speed paint for a long time, but to really do, you need a stage. You need to have an audience. And in school, we didn't have so many different things that students could just do whatever they wanted. But the pageant came up, I did that, did a speed painting live on stage, and the whole crowd went crazy. And this was like, yo, I'm gonna keep doing this. It's the reason why I still do it till today, because of that reaction. And then I went to a show, we had to paint, I did a painting of David and Solid Star. This was in a hotel. I was still in school then. When I got back to the hostel, I started thinking about what next. I'm the kind of person that once I do something, I'm like, I'm done. What's the next thing? Even though I'm still gonna keep doing that, I'm like, oh, what's the next thing I can start? I feel like, I'm a master already. I have 9 hours. What am I gonna do next? Okay, how big can you take it? What is something you can do that everybody would see? This was 2015, 9 years ago. And then the idea for the world record came up. So I applied for the world record. Largest drawing in the world by an individual. 3 months later, the application came and said, oh, you have been approved to do the thing. And that's when it now hit me like, okay, you know what? This is actually very, very big. The budget was so huge. I started looking for money to do this world record. It took a year. I didn't get any money to do the world record. So I got a mail that said the application had expired. So, my God. And then I applied again. It took another 1 year. Application expired. I applied again. The only thing stopping me was to find, because it was a very expensive record. The location alone was going to cost me almost, at that time I think it was like 16 or 20 million naira. And that time it was about 16 days. It was gonna be, it was 16 days. So we kept trying and trying. And then until 2023 December, when I was able to meet up with Toleram, who decided to sponsor the whole thing, and that's how it happened. But 9 years of constant reapplication in order to make this happen. From the time I met with my sponsors to the time we did it was just 6 months. And I spent about 3 months out of that 6 months traveling around the country because I needed to gather information for the world record attempt, the drawing itself. So I spent time traveling. I was traveling up until the day before, like the setup day of the world record. And I landed 2 days, set up, started the drawing and everything. Nigeria has over 250 different tribes, and most of our biggest issues come from tribalism. Nigeria is very fragile, and I believe one thing that can easily tip Nigeria into issues and chaos is the tribal conflict. And how much is really being done to really talk about it and prevent it, ameliorate it, make sure that everybody sees themselves as one. And it's not just about the political leaders or the religious leaders now. What exactly is being done for every person? The shoemaker, the pepper seller, to understand and remember that Nigeria can only work if we see each other as one and come together to make sure that development happens. Unity is very important because it has to be the bedrock before you start to solve even the economic problems, even the political problems. If you're not unified and you're trying to solve political problems, then you would have a lot of issues. And I wanted to do something that speaks to that. I wanted to do something that would teach us the importance of peace and unity. Like, we know Nigerians love to party. I said, okay, you know what? Let us give everybody a beautiful way to celebrate their culture. I want to do something that everybody on the streets, everybody anywhere would be proud to be Nigerian, and would be proud to be Igbo, and would be proud to be in a country where we have Yorubas, we have Hausas, we have Ibibios, we have Igalas, every single person. I wanted to now put all the shared feelings on the largest drawing in the world. The trip around the country was not just something that I wanted to do in person. It was real. It was an experience. I went to the north. I've never been to the north before. I went to the north. I spoke to people from Ibibio, from Igala, from Nupe, from Tiv, from Maggi, from Kanuri, and I was enjoying it. I said, it's so beautiful. The tapestry is so beautiful because it's so different, and variety is the spice of life. And look at how Nigeria is so different multiculturally. Why are we not even happier for it? Why is it that we're seeing these different tribes and cultures as something that should divide us and not something that should unify us? And I wanted to really, really speak on that. And this drawing is not something that just comes and goes. It's going to last forever. It's the largest drawing in the world now. And it's going to take a while before it gets beaten because that size was humongous. So, I mean, that's the reason why. Really just pick on that singular, most important bedrock that Nigeria needs, which is the unity in our culture, the unity in the diversity that we experience in our cultures, and do something that would serve as a pillar to hold that up, that would serve as a teaching point or a vantage point where people can say, okay, you know what? I actually really now see that my country is beautiful. The drawing had every culture showing how they party, their festivals, their food, their drawing, their artworks, their dressing, things that are peculiar to these tribes. And that was just what I wanted people to see. Just look at how beautiful your country is, and look at the role you play in this. Is it not something you should be proud of? Is it not something you should celebrate? And that was just it, to create that peace, to create that unity, foster understanding amongst the tribe. It really worked out, and it's not a one-day thing, 1 month thing, or a 1 year thing. The beautiful thing about the record was the amount of support it got. A lot of people came around to the stadium. We had political leaders, we had celebrities, we had influencers, and we had my personal favorite, we had schools come through. We had secondary school students, academies, football academies, all coming through. You know, minus the fact that we're trying to talk to the elderly. The children are very, very important. These are the people that are going to take charge of the future. And they loved what was going to happen. They loved what was being portrayed, and they got the message. But like I said, it's not a one-day thing. It's something that is going to keep going on. The drawing, like I said, will last forever. It's something you go to and you see it and you remember. So we have created an iconic monument that represents something, and it's going to always be there. We're building a permanent site for the drawing at the Lagos Free Zone, where the public can go and look at it and remember and understand what it means to be Nigerian. Yes, forever and ever, even when I'm gone, the message will still read out loud, and probably, hopefully, definitely prevent any clashes or tribalism or any form of situation that's going to hamper the unity or the peace in Nigeria. Like I said, the art thing was already something I was very good at. You know, I've been drawing for a long time. I drew directly on the canvas with my marker, meaning if you made a mistake, you've made a mistake. And I was only able to do that because of over a decade of being an artist. So there was no issue there. It was a smooth ride. Physically, I was bending for hours. So when you see someone that's going to bend for hours, the first thing I used to think of, oh, your back is going to hurt you and all that. My legs were gone. My legs felt like they were attached to my body to touch on me. I had to, from the second day to the last day was crazy on my legs. One other challenge we would have faced was if there was too much sun or rain. And although we were using waterproof materials, rain fell on the second to last day and last day. But because it's waterproof materials, you know, everything was fine. It didn't fall when I was drawing, it fall late in the night. I wasn't drawing at that time. So it was good until the last day when the sun came out. Then I realized the sun was worse than the rain. Every time I bent down to draw, if you put small power oil and egg, you eat fried egg. It was so hot. It was the major reason why I stopped drawing. I'm not gonna lie. We wanted to do 850 meters square. The record to beat was 629.8 meters square. I said, let's beat 850 meters square. I got to the stadium the first day and I saw the size and I wasn't impressed. I said, oh no, it has to go bigger. And I told them to bring all the boards, increase it, and we increased it to more than double the previous record. And I was like, it's good now. So on the last day, I wanted to go, you know, to 1,360. And then I told them, because of the sun, I said, you know what? If we get to 1,000, let us stop. It was crazy. The kind of sun that umbrella does not protect you from. The umbrella even made it worse. I was drinking water like Wale. So, yeah, that was for me the biggest issue I had. But day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, no sun, no rain. I worked like, it was a very cool weather, you know? And I was like, God really showed his faithfulness and his power at that point, because there was no other way that would have been done. No other way. So the God factor is very, very important in everything you do. And if you think you can do it on your own, no. As much as I've said, oh, you have to be a master and understand, you have to pray. You have to make sure that you give God the opportunity to manifest himself through you. And that is very, very important. I said already the being a master in your field thing. Now, imagine you're a master and you're also talented in that. Really understand what you're doing. Most people don't even understand what they're doing. They're in a field and they don't know everything about that field. Really understand what it means to be a doctor. Really understand what it means to be an artist. And then whatever skill or craft you're doing, really understand it, know it and own it. If it's going to take you 5 years to do that, do it. Because the moment you do it, like I said, it's going to give you so much time. Time is currency. Time is very important. Being a medical doctor is difficult because of the time it takes from you. Imagine being so good that you don't really need to spend that much time doing that. You're diligent in your activities, you are precise, you are concise. And then you also do the same thing as an artist. You're going to have so much free time. I started spray painting and I could paint live on stage in 5 minutes. The drawings I do, I take not much time to create crazy, amazing pieces. I started my foundation. Now we've done the world record. If you know what you're doing, you will have time to do other things. But the good thing is this: if you know what you're doing, you can do things around that and still be very good at it. I didn't say I'm an artist, I'm a doctor, and I start building an engineering firm. I'm going to spend 10 years doing that. But if I was very good at engineering, I could do that and it will happen immediately. So you need to know what you're doing. The foundation is for medicine and for art. Being a doctor, starting a clinic, starting a gallery, everything rotates about being a medical doctor and being an artist. And that way, if you're going to be so vast, so broad, because you are doing the thing that you know how to do. It won't take you that much time. Trust me. Yes, my work as a doctor does inspire a lot of my art pieces. I do a lot of artworks that talk about skin issues, because I see a lot of clients that have skin problems. Acne is like very rampant, and the psychological effect is also very deep. People don't get jobs, they don't get husbands, they don't get wives. People are looking at them on the streets. And that's just acne. Imagine you have other things that people don't even understand. I had a small boy that came to the clinic. Was having vitiligo, you're having white patches and you're turning white, and everybody in your town, in that small town in Badagry, doesn't understand what's happening, and it's hampering on your life as a small child. And me, I want to just do something that's going to speak to that. I said, okay, I'm going to do artworks so that people understand. Like I said, people fear what they don't understand, largely. But if you understand something, you will most likely not be afraid of it. And I want to create that understanding through my art. I also want to create a safe space where people with these conditions can come and talk about it, because having that kind of community really helps. So it does. And then, with the social issues, economic issues, I talk to patients every day and people are always complaining about one thing or the other. And it's all about our shared experiences. Being a doctor gives me that vantage view to see what people are really feeling and understand this is what I should talk about. This is what I should represent in my art. And that's what it does for me. It's good you said pursuit of happiness, because happiness is not constant, it's fleeting. I have a different goal in life. My goal is not happiness. My goal, I'm more particular about impact. I'm more particular about what can I do for my community, what can I do for the next person I think being a doctor is also one thing that really makes me feel that way, because you're always looking for, how can I help this person? Someone comes to you with a particular problem and then you say, okay, this is a solution. But in order to do that solution, you create another problem. And you're always thinking, how can I really help this person? And seeing other people do well, seeing other people equipped with what makes their life better is something that I am very passionate about. And maybe seeing that come to pass is what defines happiness for me. But that is my own goal as a doctor and as an artist. How many lives can I actually change for better in the right way? Something that is going to be sustainable, something that is going to last forever. And being able to do that is, for me, happiness. And it's very fleeting, like I said. And because I tied in happiness to my project, I always have a lot of projects I'm doing. I have one for next year already. I have 2 that I'm going to do next year. February 14 is already like, oh, I'm going to do a small, a very big event, an evening with Fola David. Everything for me is about impact. And if you think from the point of impact, you're going to see that you're never going to be able to do enough. It's just going to keep coming and coming, because there's so many people that need help. I don't fear difficult things. You know, I told you something. My mom told me medicine was the hardest thing you could do, because she knew that's what would make me do it. I don't think about difficulty before I decide to do something. And if it gets difficult, we're gonna solve it now. It has fast fun in it. It makes you learn. It makes you a better person. It makes you stronger. And you know, if something is always too easy, it gets boring. And also it prepares your mind for the next project. Trust me, if you think like a child and you start doing things that are difficult, and it prepares you to be stronger, you start thinking like a boy, and you do something even more difficult, you start thinking like a man. And then you do difficult things, you start thinking like the Hulk. And then you do difficult, you understand, the more difficulty you go through is what prepares you as a man for life. And you run away from that, you're only killing yourself. And the beautiful thing about life is life will give you difficult moments, whether you like it or not. So why not choose the ones you want? Why not choose the difficult moments yourself? I'm going to design the way my life is going to be. Meaning, I'm only going to get this particular type of difficult moments, the ones that will suit me, the ones that will serve me. If I don't do anything, life is going to give you difficult moments that will take you to anywhere it wants to take you to. But if you have a purpose, you have a project, and you're running through this, like the world record, we did have a lot of difficult moments, but you will learn as you're going through it. We are doing the largest show in the world. Nobody has done that before. And we had a canvas that was 1,360 foot, a meter square, big. We taped it. We had to join about 10 different rows together and taped it. Guess what? We're drawing on the other side, but we taped it on top. So we had to flip it. You're flipping something that is so big. We had about 50 people that had to, do the whole thing, and everybody was bringing up ideas from here and here. We finally got it done, and everybody was, it was a very rewarding moment. That little small thing was a very rewarding moment, because people had a difficult moment they'd never been through before, and they surmounted it. You see, and it just makes you feel much more confident in yourself. So difficulty is very important. Navigating difficulty, I run straight into difficult moments. Let me say something. I said I had never been on a plane when I was a child. I got to university, I was never even going to be on a plane. Trust me, if I was not even drawing, I probably would not have. Maybe. No, I would have. But the first time I took a plane flight was to Abuja. I got a call saying, we want you to come and paint. There was a Nigerian Economic Summit group, happens at Transcorp every year. Wanted me to paint the chairman of the NESG. How much is it going to cost? I told them, this is the amount, and they were willing to pay a lot of money. What I did, the first thing I did was to call 5 of my friends, so I mostly do all the things I do on my own. Back then, I called like 5 people. I said, hello, are you free on this day? They say, yes, we're going to Abuja. Hello? I paid tickets for everybody. Let's go and flex. Because I was like, yo, and you know, that was one of the highest amount of money I'd ever received at that time for something, and I've never seen this person. Went to Abuja, first time on the plane, you know, went there, killed it as usual, came back. Then I told God, I said, yo, I want to be able to do this speed painting outside of the country. And then I got a letter saying, oh, come to Portugal to paint at the conference in Portugal, where the president of Portugal was going to be. Paid my ticket, paid for my assistants, 2 assistants, hotel, everything. I was living the life of a superstar. Yeah, we went to Portugal. So for me now, I'm talking about places I've been to. And I did a speed painting performance for the president. So we've done with the presidents of nations, kings. The Ooni of Ife is my royal father, is a very, very close supporter because of the drawings. You know, governors, everybody. I can't, as far as Lagos and Nigeria is concerned, we have been able to do speed paintings for almost everybody. I've been on stage with Davido, I've been on stage with D'banj, I've been on stage with Two-Face, I've been on stage with Alibaba, I've been on stage with Sailor. These are all videos that are online. Jidenna, Keri Hilson, Wale, everybody. I've been on stage speed painting, and the speed painting made me able to be on stage with big personalities, painting to even bigger personalities, and that's how I was able to get a lot of networking done. That's what even led to the sponsorship for the world record, because I did a speed painting for Tolerance, and you know, the MD saw it and said, yo, I love that, how can I support you? Oh, world record? Done. If I wasn't speed painting, I wouldn't have met. A moment to choose between meeting. No, I've never had to choose. Art is me, meeting is me. I know how to do it so well. Never had to choose. I'm always going to be the doctor and the artist, always. Yes, definitely going to do a lot of big things. Like I said, I set up a hospital, a gallery, and an academy. We have an art academy in Lekki now. The plan is to offer free training to visual arts for drawing, painting, videography, photography, sculpture, digital art, animation. Then we also, you know, have the gallery space. This is in Ikeja. It's a 3-story building where the ground floor is the gallery and the top 2 floors is the clinic. I have a dream to build a hospital and a gallery in the same compound, where there's building for a gallery, building for a clinic. I think in the next 5 years I should be able to do that. But another big thing coming up is also the monument in Lagos Free Zone, where people can go and see the largest shrine in the world for life. And then we also have a movie coming out, the travels I had around Nigeria, and the world record, you know, behind the scenes, problems, difficulties, everything. We put it together into a short film, about 45 minutes. We're gonna also bring that out soon enough. Yeah. Yeah. You know, take the advice of being a master at what you're doing. Don't think you're too good also, you know, always learn. Learn around everything you're doing. Be a master. Being a master is not a small thing, you know. And do things you love. It's difficult, even when you're doing things you love. Now imagine you're doing something you don't like to do. You're going to really have a very, very tough time. So you want to do things you love as much as possible. And if you do find something you love, you know, that's a very big blessing. And if you've not found something you're passionate about, you need to apply yourself a lot more. What have you not tried doing? You could just take an iPhone one day and start creating content, and you find out, oh, I'm really good at this. I love it. You're being timid. You're being shy. You've not tried so many things. How do you know you don't have something you're passionate about? I mean, yes, you are in Lagos. I mean, some people are passionate about paragliding, some people are passionate about deep sea exploration, but they don't know because you obviously cannot try it. You know, you're not in a place where you can try it. But yeah, how many things are you watching? What are you doing with your phone? What are you watching on social media, on YouTube, on TV? You're watching nonsense. Let me not say anything. But you know, apply yourself in the right ways and you will find something that you're passionate about. Do that. You know, you can even be passionate about many things. Apply yourself, be a master at that, put God in the center and you'll be fine. You know, like I said, I want to be remembered for the person that used up all his abilities. I want to get to heaven and they say, you try, now everything we give you now you use, not a single drop left. I'm gonna use the life that I was given to impact other lives, to make sure that things are better around me, constantly and consistently. That's it. Hi guys, my name is Dr. Fola David. Keep watching Simple TV.